All right. In the meantime, let's get back to international updates now. What we are learning that this seems to be another statement that is coming in from President Donald Trump, the U.S. president, claiming that India may soon stop buying Russian oil, calling it as a good step if true. However, the Indian government has reiterated that their energy decisions are guided solely by market conditions, not any external pressures. While Donald Trump praised the potential shift as a positive development, India, however, remains steadfast in this position, emphasizing that their oil policy is driven by market realities other than any political influence. So let's listen in as far as this latest statement that is now coming in from Donald Trump. And when it comes to penalties, additional penalties that have also been levied by the U.S. on India, of course, that is still unspecified. But the question still remains on what step is that Donald Trump is talking about when government of India has made it clear that India's energy purchases are guided by market dynamics and national interests.
Well, I understand India no longer is going to be buying oil from Russia. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's a good step. We'll see what happens, okay?
Well, not just Donald Trump, even when it comes to the U.S. Secretary of State, who had criticized India for continuing to import Russian oil despite Western sanctions over Ukraine war. And then U.S. President decided to impose the penalty besides a 25% additional import duty on goods imported from India. And there has been big companies as well as far as the sanctions that have now been sought. But when it comes to the private refiners as well, there are refiners and the Federal Oil Ministry, however, have not responded yet. But when it comes to the government of India, however, has now made it clear that there is no external pressures that seems to be talking about or guiding when it comes to India's policy is concerned. But Donald Trump reportedly has now said that India may have stopped purchasing Russian oil. However, he is gone on to say that it is a good step if confirmed, but these remarks are coming at a time when Washington decided to impose a penalty on New Delhi for purchasing crude oil and military equipment from Moscow. Let's get in a word from Srinjoy now. Srinjoy, good morning. The government seems to be unaware as far as the latest statement that is coming in from Donald Trump of these specific developments regarding Indian oil companies pausing Russian imports. What is Donald Trump here trying to say? And who exactly has been giving him this information that India may stop purchasing oil from Russia?
The U.S. president is a remarkably mercurial man, and especially for a president. So at this point, he believes that India has stopped buying oil from Russia. Now, regardless of whether that is correct or not, this is a sovereign decision of the government of India. India has to do things that are in India's national interest. And if India believes that India needs to buy oil from Russia, because oil prices, because of these two wars that are going on, one in the Middle East and the other Russia and Ukraine, have gone up as much as they have, that India needs to buy the oil for 1.4 billion people, then naturally India should have the right to buy it from wherever it can. Because India's, what President Trump does not seem to realize, that America's per capita income is over $60,000. India's is $6,000, is $3,000. And as a result, India needs cheap oil, especially for economic development. This is something the president must realize.
Absolutely. Let's listen in once again. You know, Donald Trump, who seems to be saying that he heard that India might no longer buy oil from Russia, though he's acknowledged that he was not certain about this claim. Let's listen in.
Well, I understand India no longer is going to be buying oil from Russia. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's a good step. We'll see what happens, okay?
Well, this is now coming at a time when Donald Trump's remarks come days after his tirade against India for buying Russian oil, and White House decision then to levy 25% tariffs on all exports to America, and an unspecified additional penalty for purchasing Russian energy. Who's giving him that information? Well, that still remains a mystery. Thank you very much for the moment, Srinjoy, for joining us here on the broadcast. Let's move on and get you a breaking update what we are learning of an encounter